We might have uncovered the answers of a few mysteries this year, but if we've learned anything, it's that we still know very little about a lot. Despite our technological ability in this modern world, there are many mysteries that continue to haunt us. This year has graced us with some baffling unsolved mysteries. How did Sherry Papini survive her kidnap? Why were these medieval bones buried in such a puzzling way? How did this NFL player defy gravity? These are the greatest unsolved mysteries of 2017. Is this their site of Amelia Earhart's crash? The curious case of Amelia Earhart's disappearance during her attempt to fly around the world 80 years ago has long remained legend as researchers hunt for her remains to this day. This year, we may have gotten closer than ever before. In fact, National Geographic said the mystery of what happened to Amelia Earhart may be as close as it's ever been to being solved. The case of Amelia Earhart has aroused suspicion for over 80 years. The publication used 4 bone-sniffing dogs who each detected human remains in the same spot on a remote island in the Pacific, Nicobar Oro, Kiribati, which many believe is where Earhart and navigator Fred Noonan crashed on July 2, 1937, en route to Howland Island, an uninhabited island north of the equator in the Pacific Ocean. Researchers claim to have found Amelia Earhart's plane wreck in the Pacific. Their signals were clear. Someone, perhaps Earhart or her navigator, Fred Noonan, had died beneath the Wren tree, according to the publication. Still, Fred Hebert, National Geographic's archaeologist in residence, said, the odds of actually extracting DNA from a tropical environment such as Nicobar Oros are slim. What happened to Otto Warmbier? It's a total disgrace what happened to Otto. That should never, ever be allowed to happen. When University of Virginia student Otto Warmbier was arrested in North Korea, little did we know that he would be sent back on his deathbed amid a series of horrifying allegations in which US President Donald Trump said Warmbier was tortured beyond belief. Otto Warmbier was sentenced to 15 years in prison in North Korea after allegedly stealing a propaganda poster in January 2016. Warmbier died 6 days after returning from North Korea with severe brain damage, after being sentenced to 15 years hard labor, after allegedly stealing a propaganda poster in January 2016. But just how his body ended up so badly damaged remains a mystery. Hamilton County Coroner Dr. Lakshmi Samarko said, we don't have enough information about what happened to Otto in North Korea to draw any concrete conclusions about the 22-year-old's death. Dr. Samarko said it was impossible to determine what happened to Warmbier's brain that caused the injury that led to his death. He later died 6 days after returning from North Korea with severe brain damage. Otto Warmbier was terrorized and brutalized in North Korean labor camp. The family is looking for answers that at this point, we're never going to know. His body was in excellent condition. His skin was in excellent condition. There was no evidence of bed sores. I'm sure he had to have around-the-clock care to be able to maintain the skin in the condition it was in. The examination, carried out by coroner Dr. Gretel Stevens, lists the cause of death as brain damage from a lack of oxygen from an injury more than a year prior to death. The manner of death is written as undetermined. Despite desperate pleas from his parents, we may never know what happened to Warmbier in the darkness of those North Korean cells. Thousands of octopus march out of sea when a dolphin tour group discovered a species of octopus marching out of the ocean en masse on a seeming suicide mission. Scientists were stumped. Thousands of octopi were found dead on various mornings in October, and it's not the first time it's happened. Scores of octopuses crawled out of the sea and up a Welsh beach. It sort of brings out this mothering instinct. You just want to save them. Brett Stones of the Seymour Group told National Geographic. It's quite emotional to see them flailing. Experts are divided by two theories. One group believes the octopus, who only live for a year, are preparing for their end of life after laying their eggs. Some claim they were seeking shelter before being found dead on the shore. Wales Beach invaded by octopus. And no one knows why. Others claim they were preparing for their end of life after laying their eggs, though none of the corpses have been examined to determine if that was in fact their case. But others believe the octopus are looking for shelter. But the reality is, no one quite knows. Haunted city found floating in the ocean. Archaeologists have been left baffled by a mysterious ancient city filled with gigantic square blocks that lie over the Pacific. Nan Madol is located just off the remote island of Pohnpei in Micronesia, and experts are puzzled by the island, which consists of 97 individual blocks separated by narrow channels of water. Nan Madol is comprised of 97 individual blocks separated by narrow channels of water. They claim the blocks are remarkably similar, but the reason for these gigantic structures remains unclear. While the site was home to an ancient race, little is known about them or why they chose to build these hardy structures. Why would somebody build a city out in the middle of the ocean? Why here, so far away from any other known civilization? Cuba mystery. Bizarre attacks leave victims with brain injury. United States diplomats are sustaining curious brain injuries while posted in Cuba, and the US government can't figure out exactly what's behind the astonishing international mystery. The attacks were initially thought to perhaps be inflicted by some sort of unknown targeted sonic weapon. United States diplomats in Cuba suffered deafness and curious brain injuries. The affected diplomats have sustained permanent damage to their hearing, mild traumatic brain injuries, and possibly even damage to their central nervous system. Their mystery over the bizarre situation only continues to deepen, with baffled US officials claiming the facts and the physics don't add up. Some felt vibrations and heard sounds, loud ringing or a high-pitched chirping similar to crickets or cicadas. Others heard the grind